Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the Lakers have the first of two back-to-back games in San Antonio starting up tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern. And San Antonio is horrible as hell, man. I'm not going to even pretend. We're not going to pull any punches. They're on a 17-game losing streak. And that's not even the worst losing streak in the league, believe it or not, because Detroit's on a 20-game losing streak. But those teams are on a race to the bottom. Washington's right there with them with an identical record to the Spurs. At 3-19, and honestly, there should be no excuses. The Lakers lose either of these games. There should be no excuses for losing. I mean, they don't want to win. San Antonio's doing that thing again that we talked about last year, where they have Keldon Johnson shoot a bunch of bad threes that are just purposefully going to brick. That's what they're doing. They're tanking for real on purpose. It's a race to the cellar, and that's pretty much what we understand about San Antonio. Bron said he may go tonight. It's one of those things where you'll see how he feels when he wakes up this morning. I wouldn't even play him, honestly. This is a great game not to play him. Do not bring Vando back. This is one of those, man. If AD wants to sit, go ahead and sit him. Like, that's how bad San Antonio is playing right now. I mean, you're talking about a situation where they played against the Rockets last, and the Rockets shot like 30% from the three, 36% or something like that from the field, and still won the game. I mean, you had guys that were super cold. I mean, like, unbelievably cold for the Rockets. You know, Dylan Brooks was 1 for 12 in that game, and they still won. So this is one of those situations where San Antonio is purposefully trying to lose. And although you don't know when a losing team like this is going to want to wake up and play well, this is one of those situations where if the Lakers just give the type of effort they gave last night against Dallas, they'll definitely win the game. So you want to do homework on the team you're going up against. You know what I mean? They got a guy by the name of Charles Bassey who's now out for the season. He tore his ACL, I think, in that last game against Houston. So prayers out to him. Of course, Wembanyama, the first overall pick, is a fantastic player. In any given moment, he can show how fantastic he is. But he's on board with the tanking, it seems. Listening, reading on transcripts what he was saying, he was essentially saying we got our eye on the bigger picture. And he wants a fantastic teammate is what I'm telling you. I mean, he wants somebody in the draft that he can grow with. A first overall guy like him so that they could put together a duo in this league, and they just don't have that player until they tank this season and hopefully get the first overall pick once again. So that's really what it is for San Antonio. They are horrible, man. Wemby went down with an injury about a month ago, and they haven't won since, man. They had 2 games against Phoenix that they won back-to-back at the very, very, very beginning of November, and have not won a game since. And they've lost to the likes of Chicago, Minnesota twice, Denver twice, Phoenix. I think, no, they didn't play Phoenix again, but they've played a lot of teams, and they've lost them all. And they had a close game against Atlanta about 3 games ago that I think the Lakers should take a look at the highlights on, just in case they want to pull that crap again and want to start competing. But this is truly a scheduled win for the Lakers and a continued process in the losing streak ways of the San Antonio Spurs. But the problem is with this particular game is that the franchise high for losses for the San Antonio Spurs is 17. Maybe they decide they don't want that. They don't want to set their franchise record this year, as to which they would need to win this particular basketball game. So that might make Wemby come out and score 40. You don't know. Going up against Wembanyama, people are going to have to understand. Don't try to dunk on him. Not only is he 7'4", but his wingspan goes all the way up to the Lord. So you can't see yourself having too much success shooting up and unders against this guy. He could block 3-point shots with ease. I mean, he's a different level of beast, and it's our first time seeing him. So the adjustment shooting over him is going to be substantial for our basketball team, just like it is for everybody else. So if he decides he wants to have an amazing game, he could. He's averaging 18 points, 10 rebounds, and should be in good conditioning coming back from injury about 4 games ago. So this is a guy who we saw footage of him rolling his ankle pretty nasty, and he jumped right back up like it wasn't a problem. I don't know if he has a double jointed ankle or what, but I don't think I've ever seen that before. Well, yeah, Dennis Schroeder is the only person I've ever seen do that. So this is one of those situations where Wemby is a different beast, man. And even though he's on a god-awful basketball team, he's still a capable basketball player. And you got a guy like Devin Vassell who's out there, who's healthy, who's in a good situation, is a very good basketball player. Malachi Branham is a player I like a lot that you're going to have to pay attention to on the wing. Jeremy Sohan, they have being a de facto point guard, which I think is a really, really tanking decision. But I've seen him play well. He can do a lot of things, combination stuff, boards, assists, scoring. He's a developing player. And, you got some really good guys down there that are just on a terrible team. You got Zach Collins, who will probably get a lot of minutes since backup center Bassey is gone. Zach Collins is basically having a breakout for San Antonio. I think he needs to be on a good team. Hopefully they do him a favor and trade him up out of there. Trey Jones is on this team. A very good point guard, score first point guard, developing, but does some really good things, usually has fantasy relevance. They got some guys, man. Blake Wesley, of whom I would love to see the Lakers snatch away from San Antonio since they don't want to give him any minutes. Up-and-coming shooting guard you likely won't see tonight at all, but they should be playing him, in my opinion. San Antonio, they're struggling bad, man. Let's just be honest. They don't win. They don't want to win. They're trying to get the first pick in the draft, so a win is a loss for this franchise, and we've been there. We know how it is when you're tanking it out, trying to develop your roster going forward with young players, starting all over again. They got their cornerstone. He's set in stone in regards to being content with what they're doing. So all we got to do is play our game, run out there and not concede, play level to the level of the opponent, and we should probably be able to get 2 quick victories before heading home, man. So that is really what it is. Not only do we have to play them tonight, but we got to also play them again on Friday. So, it sucks, but I think that's how the schedule is working for a lot of teams that come to San Antonio. You see a lot of that on their schedule. And it just is what it is. I mean, San Antonio is a great franchise, won a lot of championships. We know they know what they're doing. But my only concern about San Antonio is, are you setting the precedent for talent on your team to have bad tendencies, man? A guy like Keldon Johnson constantly has to shoot bad threes over and over again. Does he know how not to do that now that he's been asked to do that for 3 years in a row? I don't know, man. Malachi Branham, a really good player. I think he has upside. Is he developing terrible habits? Trey Jones, same thing. Sohan, same thing. So it's just a lot of stuff there about San Antonio that I'm not really sure if it makes any sense for Popovich to be trying to coach a team that's trying to race to the bottom. I know they see a bigger picture there, but he's already older in his age. I just don't really get the timeline there with the coach anymore. But Wembanyama's on the team, and obviously he's the prized possession of the entire NBA. So you just got to kind of pray for the guy. Pray for Wembanyama. Hopefully it works out for what he wants his career to be. But when your team is 3-19 with no intentions of winning basketball games, half of your roster doesn't even make any sense. You don't even have a proper point guard in your starting lineup. It really just becomes a situation where you start asking, is he in a good spot for himself? And right now, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell if San Antonio even knows what they're doing anymore, truly. But that's trash for them, and that's treasure for us, because obviously we're coming off a loss yesterday against the Dallas Mavericks, where I thought we scored pretty well, but they just scored a lot better. We left shooters open. Luka Doncic went for over 30 and 17 assists. Dante Exum went for like 7 threes. Grant Williams went for 5 threes. Who else? It was someone else that went off as well. I believe it was Tim Hardaway Jr. Also had a big game. So you're just looking at a situation with the LA Lakers. You say, man, we played awful for our standards defensively, albeit no Vanderbilt, albeit limited Max Christie minutes, for which I thought he would help around the perimeter. So I just didn't love the game plan out there. I listened to some commentary and some of the adjustments that Jason Kidd made in regards to lining our players up a certain way. Kind of confused us. You got to give credit to their center as well, Derek Lively II, who put himself in a position to do very good things, blocking shots, and ultimately they did a lot, drawing fouls and various different things, taking charges. You just have to give them their credit, man. But all in all, the Lakers need to throw that game away. Of course, we have a bounce-back game against a terrible San Antonio squad here to take advantage of, and hopefully we can send them to their franchise record 18th overall loss in a row, which is crazy to me. I don't know how San Antonio let themselves get this bad on purpose, but here they are, man. And so that's what the Lakers need to do, LeBron James, like I said, he may play. Anthony Davis coming off a 37-point game, 11 rebounds. I thought he was really good last night. One of the only players I thought was really good. Taurean Prince had a really good shooting night yesterday, so I was pleased with him, although the defensive issues are still there, but that's not necessarily his fault. You put him in positions to not have necessarily what he needs in terms of the right assignments, and of course he's going to have problems, defending who you have in front of him. So I didn't really think too much of that, to be honest with you, other than to say we just needed our Vando out there. And so that's what I saw. D'Angelo Russell, 7.7 assists. That's just not a good D-Lo game for us. We need him to be more consistent, to say the least. But when you get to a point where you just understand that that's who he is, and you just got to live with it. So all in all, the Los Angeles Lakers were able to kind of get away with a respectable score there. We only lost by a couple points, and we scored a lot. But the defense was just... It seemed like we had the wrong defense for the team we were playing. If we were playing against the Pacers, we probably would have had a much more successful game. But going up against the Dallas Mavericks, who cut off everything in the interior and then shoot a lot of threes, it was like we're playing right into their game plan's hands. So not a fan of how we did that, but hopefully we have a much better go at it tonight against San Antonio, of whom, it don't really matter what game plan you run out there. They probably are going to lose because it's exactly what they're aiming for. So hopefully we take care of business and don't have any embarrassing losses tonight. I don't imagine we would. And let's just try to get through these next two games healthy. That's really what it is. When you're playing against a tanking squad, you don't want to roll an ankle. You don't want to pop a knee or none of that, man. That's why I have no problem with LeBron sitting this game out, AD sitting this game out. Let our hopefuls run out there with these guys, man. You know what I mean? Let the Jalen Hood-Shafinos and the Max Christies and Cam Reddish and those guys, Christian Wood, get some minutes tonight. Jackson Hayes, I want to see them guys on the floor a bit more tonight. This is when we get our rest, more or less. And if you happen to lose this game to this team, you're going to be credited with one of the worst losses ever known to man, because that's what happens when you lose to a tanking team on a 17-game losing streak. So it ain't too much to say, man. Lakers dropped in a bad game yesterday. We laid an egg. If we would have had a decent game plan, the way we were shooting above 50% from both the field and the three, you're not going to lose many games when you do that, and as badly as we've shot from behind the arc at times in this season, you just hate seeing us shoot that well and still lose a basketball game. But, it is what it is. You got to bounce back quickly. You don't get to think too much about that. We're in San Antonio till basically Friday night, and so hopefully our guys are getting some rest in the daytime, and we'll be ready for this tanking basketball club tonight, man. And send them to their 18th and 19th loss. That's really what it's about. We don't have any interest in losing any games to bad teams, man. We destroyed Detroit, and we should destroy San Antonio. I mean, I did a little homework on San Antonio, but to be honest with you, when a team's on a 17-game losing streak, you start looking at their shooting numbers and they're shooting below 40% from the field in just about all those games, you start understanding that it don't take a whole lot of studying needed there to understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to lose. They're shooting bad shots and they're trying to lose, man. And so this is how that goes. Hopefully we can get a good effort out of our guys, and if so, I'm pretty sure we'll be fine, because that is exactly how this is going with San Antonio. So yeah, man, you never take Wembanyama lightly. The one thing that I would tell y'all to be careful with is guys wanting to show their backside against the Lakers. Now, granted, this is a tanking squad, but that is Wembanyama. And so if he wants to have an amazing night, he's capable of doing it. And if Anthony Davis isn't on the floor, he may take advantage and just try to give himself some fantastic stats in these two games. Guys love to show out against the Lakers. We saw it with Exum. We saw it with Grant. We've seen it with all these guys yesterday. So take very good care of the basketball. Do not turn the ball over against this young team. They're going to run a run. They're going to want to shoot a lot of threes. Probably won't make any of them, but you want to respect Devin Vassell. You want to respect Trey Jones. You want to respect Wembanyama, and that's really what it comes down to. Those are good players. You want to respect Zach Collins, also good players in a terrible situation. So that's what I see there, man. I know that team is going to concede a loss. They probably won't score over 90 points tonight, man. They probably will not, especially if we play the type of defense we're capable of. I don't know that Vanderbilt will play. He's a game-time decision. Gabe Vincent is considered a game time decision, though we know he will not play. He's probably not going to be back until the end of the road trip against the Knicks next week. That's what we're targeting, but he is listed as a game time decision. And AD and Braun, of course, always game time decisions. So I do expect us to scratch one of them dudes tonight. Honestly, I don't think Braun is probably going to play tonight, but we never know. Our stars have only missed one game, and we've had, 4 sets of back-to-backs thus far? So who knows what they'll decide to do, but this would be a great game for one of them dudes to sit, honestly. Likely Braun. And AD did have a little bit of a hip thing going on yesterday, so again, I don't mind either of those stars sitting. This is a night where you let your youngsters run, and you basically just let the chips fall where they may with gaining rest in a game like this where the other team just flat out doesn't want to win. So the Lakers are going to be wearing yellow tonight on the San Antonio home floor. San Antonio is going to be wearing their black uniforms, and that's what I know, man. That is exactly what I know about this game tonight. So hopefully we don't have any surprises, no injuries, no letdowns. Play solid basketball with whoever's on the floor, and you should be able to beat a team that doesn't want to win. So that's pretty much what I got to say. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.